I was 12 years old here at the volunteer fire department somewhere in Germany, but I have absolutely no idea, and I remember vaguely the picture, but I don't really remember it in its entirety. But these guys, I just remember that these guys were kind of funny. My dad was a great photographer, and he was able to capture some very cool stuff in all these towns, German towns, that showed all the different businesses that was in that town. It was very interesting. I guess from a time where people actually couldn't read, this was the way that they communicated. It was very cool. I remember that this apple wine was fantastic, but where this place is, I don't know, but I would really like to go back and visit it. I think I was 6 here with my mom. Wangen im Allgäu. I'll never forget that summer. My mom, when she was younger. I have no idea where this was. Me, I must have been 5, and that was my dad. Somewhere on the Rhine. I was 11 or 12. I think this was the Swiss Alps, if I'm not mistaken. I remember when we went to a park, and I think it said clean up after your dog, or something like that. Or maybe dogs aren't allowed, or who knows what. My mother doing her favorite thing, shopping. I inherited that love as well. Shopping, wheeling and dealing with my mom. However, I don't look too excited here. We went to many, many beautiful places. Watching a guy making toffee while in France. I was about 7 years old here, 6 or 7. Photographers were always running around taking pictures of very famous actors and actresses. In this particular restaurant there was Marcello Mastroianni and Catherine Deneuve, of which my parents sent me over. I didn't know who they were. I mean, I sort of recognized Catherine Deneuve, but I didn't know what her name was. I saw her in a movie, but she was with Marcello Mastroianni, and my parents sent me over there to get an autograph. So I have this autograph somewhere in a box, both from Catherine Deneuve and from Marcello Mastroianni, even though this is not the type of thing that I do. I don't ask people for their autographs. In fact, in Canada, when I was very well known, almost famous, beyond famous perhaps, a lot of people ran up to me and asked me for my autograph, and it was kind of fun at the beginning, but it gets tiring after a while. I was very glad I left Canada. Nobody knows me in Europe, and I'm very happy about that. My dad was very observant in his younger years, and he was able to catch people in interesting poses or interesting situations. His pictures usually said a lot. All you had to do was look at them for a while. All of these pictures were taken with a Rolleiflex twin lens reflex camera with a 1.0 lens. That was the most amazing lens I've ever seen. A planar 1.0. Really razor sharp. My dad loved France, and most specifically Paris, and we went there many times, though I have to admit I really can't stand Paris because I've been there so many times, and I lived in Versailles for a year and I hated that even more. A cop directing traffic. Look how old those cars are. My mom shopping again. And my dad, who knows how old he was then. I have to tell you, nothing much has changed. I've taken pictures, they looked exactly the same. Of course, a little bit different with my digital camera. My mom shopping again. coming back from shopping again. This guy on the left on the balcony is Troll. He was a great lawyer for my dad in Austria. I really like that guy. And his son took over, and his son's daughter is also a lawyer in Austria. They're very, very good lawyers. And if you ever need one in Austria, I will put his name here. This is the view of the apartment from in Graz, although I've never been to that particular apartment because my parents had properties all over the place, and really I didn't need to go to an apartment. I always preferred traveling around. I never stayed in one place too long, and I'm glad I did that. It was inside that apartment, though I don't recognize that Persian carpet on the left, but the other two Persian carpets I still have today. My mom with friends. The SS France. I think I was 6 or 7 when I was on the SS France. Boy, I got real seasick. From where was it? From Paris? No, was it Paris? No, somewhere else. From somewhere in France to New York City in the States. I think it was 6 weeks. 6 weeks of pure luxury. Back to the apartment in Graz. Huh. Interesting. I even had that statue on the table there. Up until last year, I gave it away to somebody. You know, I have all these things. It's just stuff, and I just don't know what to do with it. And to sell it, it's not worth for me to sell it. It's interesting how we accumulate all this stuff through life, and then at the end, none of that stuff really means anything anymore. But my mother was an expert at buying Persian carpets, and I learned a lot from her. In fact, I really miss my mom. I don't miss my dad. That guy was a whatever. Oh my God! 115 Waterloo Avenue. Except that picture's backwards because the garage is on the right. I'll have to fix it. Wow. I grew up there. From I guess 1 year old to 6 years old. Wow. I went back there once to visit, to take a look. It's very cool. Near Troll's office in Austria.